Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Newsmaker Live with me, Kendal Berton. We're honored this evening to have with us the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Acting Prime Minister. We'll be discussing a number of issues affecting the country, and more specifically, as we approach the anniversary of your party being in power, we can talk about some of your achievements. Welcome to Newsmaker Live. Thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Berton. I want to say good evening to all the listeners. But before I start, I want to start on what is a very sad note. I want to extend my deepest sympathies to the family, to our family of Anchipo. You know, their son and brother died in rather tragic circumstances. I know the family well. I know his dad very well, his deceased dad. So I want to express my sincere condolences to them and tell them that our thoughts are with them, and I hope they can survive this rather serious and sorrowful time.
Okay, let's get right into it, Mr. Pierre. You're approaching the second anniversary since the Slp Labour Party was elected to office. What are some of the major milestones that you've accomplished during that time? What are some of the projects that you're most proud of?
Well, first of all, I want again to thank the public of St. Lucia. It's not very often that a political party wins an election after 5 years in opposition. The normal thing is normally after 2 terms you lose an election. But this time, the people of St. Lucia decided that they would vote Labour after 4.5 years of the rule of the National Party. I think it has been challenging. It's been very, very, very challenging. Challenging because of the environment that we have to work under. Challenging because the whole situation, the world is extremely challenging. But I think first of all, we've brought stability to the country. We've brought good governance to the country. Things have settled. All the accusations and the scandals of the past are gone. Secondly, we've stabilized the economy of the country, and I want to tell you what I mean by that. The deficit, the St. Lucia Labour Party inherited a deficit of possibly between 9 and 10%, a current account deficit. That is very high. The deficit, as you speak, is still high, but it may be around 6 or 7%. That is high, and it's not sustainable. So we have to handle that situation. But so we have to keep expenses down. But keeping expenses down, the largest part of government expense is salaries and wages, and that deficit, even if it has to be done with it, it has to be a control of salaries and wages. But we've kept salaries and wages intact. In fact, we've given an increase to public servants. So it's been very challenging because you have to ensure that your current account deficit is within levels of about 1 or 2% or even a surplus, and we are very high, and I think is the biggest challenge. How do you maintain a stable economy while you keep the deficit down? Secondly, because of the situation in the rest of the region, we find it very difficult for our paper to sell. When I say paper, I mean our bonds. Governments are financed by bonds, loans, and grants. Loans, you know what a loan is? A bond is when you sell paper, you sell financial paper to an investor, to individuals, and after 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, you get it back with interest. That is extremely difficult to sell now. The reason why many countries in the region have defaulted on payments of their bonds, and this is a fact. St. Kitts, Grenada, Jamaica, Belize, all these countries have defaulted. So the investors are very nervous about the region as a whole. St. Lucia doesn't exist in isolation. St. Lucia exists in the region. So a challenge for us as a government is how do we finance our projects by the traditional ways of bonds, because as you know, grants have come down a lot. And I think this is a challenge. This is a big challenge for us. But why am I saying that? I think we've kept our social programs intact. We have increased our allowance to the poorer people. We've given new allowances. We've given an allowance to disabled people, challenged people. We've given an allowance to them, challenged kids. We have had some social programs. We've had some employment programs. And I know people speak about the high employment in the country, but the government understands that something has to happen to reduce that unemployment. And what we've done is that government has financed some issues like NICE, like SMILE, which I'm sure we're going to deal with later. We've also did some serious infrastructural development. As we speak, we've built a new school in Miku, as we speak, an extension to a school. We've built basically 2 new health centers. We've refurbished about 6 health centers. We've built new roads. We've built I think 5 bridges. As we speak, we are constructing 3 more. The general state of the roads have improved, although I want to hastily add there's a lot to be done as the roads are concerned. But we've done some work on the roads. In agriculture, we've stabilized bananas. We've got the black Sigatoga under some level of control. We've got on control in agriculture. In education, the government has given a laptop per student of Form 4. We've given $500 to every child who enters school, who passes the common entrance exam, which is a continuation of the government's educational program. We have introduced partial zoning, which means that the costs of going to school will be reduced. So, and we've done that. We've maintained the same level of teachers. We've continued with our assistance to teachers at training college. We haven't sent any teachers home. We've given teachers an allowance. So in education, we've done in commerce and in business, although we are very dissatisfied with the level of new investment, but that is not because of anything happening in the country. We think that the investment should increase. We're trying our best. St. Lucia has gone up in the ranks as far as doing business, but this is continuous improvement. We have to improve more, but we've seen some little signs of improvement in investment. As we speak, a dive school is going up right opposite the Bonte Bridge. Hopefully a new hotel is going to go there. Construction has started. You can see it for yourself. So there are little signs of improvements in investment. Generally, we think that the country is stable, but we are not satisfied. We're not satisfied. I will not sit here and tell you I'm satisfied or I'm happy. I'm not satisfied. But I think that with patience and with the entire country understanding that we're living in a global situation and things are tough regionally and internationally, I think with time things are going to improve. But I think there has been some improvement over the last 2 years. We've
heard about your accomplishments, your milestones. Let's talk about some of your regrets. What you wish could have been done differently?
I really wish we could have got employment for more of our young people. That's the honest truth. We are very concerned about employment for young people. Are extremely concerned. But the government cannot employ everyone. So there's got to be an injection in the economy of foreign direct investment, and we are working very hard on that. But in the meantime, government, as I said, for the SMILE program and the NICE program, and these programs, apart from creating employment, they have a social benefit. Because you see, what the NICE program does in terms of helping elderly people at their homes. Many elderly people were lonely, they were depressed, they were distressed at home alone. The NICE program, they are taken care of, they are read to, so that has caused some level of social relief whilst creating employment. So I believe that our greatest challenge as a nation is to bring down that deficit and to improve the level of employment in the country.
Well, let's talk specifically about what you're doing to attract direct foreign investment. You've obviously hinted at the need to do that. Also, we've heard your government encouraging young people especially to become entrepreneurs, to become self-employed. What are you doing to ensure that the support systems are there for them to be able to do that? We know the banks are rushing to finance even established businesses at this point. So what options are available for those people?
Okay, in terms of sorry, you asked me about foreign direct investment. The government has completely rebranded Invest in Lucia.
All right.
And if you notice, only last week, Invest in Lucia has decided that they're going to remain in their core competencies. That is why last week we signed an MOU with Invest St. Lucia, that Invest St. Lucia said, listen to me, we need to improve the roads in our industrial estates, but we're not contractors.
Right.
So you have the expertise, so you stay in that. So this is a very strategic and direct move by Invest St. Lucia to remain in their core competencies. Invest St. Lucia has been vigorously pursuing investment opportunities. But that is why in St. Lucia we want to create the environment, and this is why we are working vigorously on ensuring the ease of doing business. In that when an investor comes to St. Lucia, we want him to be able to get all his incentives. We want him to get whatever he wants to get and keep moving. You spoke about young people. There are some programs targeted at young people directly in agriculture. There's an agriculture program. It has some setbacks, you know, because these programs, no matter how well intentioned, there are some procedural things you have to do. The problem with the agricultural program for young people is a matter of leasing of lands. Right. There are a lot of, St. Lucia's very archaic land laws. That's taken some time. Right. We are doing some work as far as that is concerned. But there have been some success stories which have remained quite untold. Celestial. There are people who make computers and laptops and tablets in St. Lucia. They're doing very well. And all the employment there is people who have been trained on the SMILE program. Single mothers, all of them, young people, and that is a success story. Really, it's new technology, etc. So we are hoping that that can expand and more of that can come into the country. We're also making a thrust in creative industries because we believe that young people have a lot of talent, and that talent can manifest itself as far as creative industries are concerned. Government is giving small grants to dance troupes and music. So we're hoping that at that level they can do some employment. But I want to assure you, what really is needed is a foreign direct investment, either from local business or from foreign business. And that will only happen when the global economy improves. People are not going to invest unless the global economy improves. And there are some signs, some tepid signs, but the government wants to be ready. We've also doing in training and retraining of our young people. You know, it was our government that assisted in causing information ITC, in causing cheaper phone, cheaper calls, cheaper technology. Right now, the government is working on an entire new IT policy. We want to make the whole country Wi-Fi with Wi-Fi enabling. That is why every child in Form 4 has been given a computer. So to create their own space, create their own jobs, web technology. So it's a process that will not happen in 1 year, will happen in 2 years, may not happen in 5 years, but it's a process that we are building on.
Okay. You mentioned that as one of your accomplishments, that you've stabilized the country. Listening to some of the comments of the ordinary citizen, one gets the impression that you're not seeing it that way. I want to get, what is your ultimate yardstick for measuring success in development? What are you measuring that by?
First of all, it's a known fact that there's stability in government. After Sir John died, there was instability. That's a fact. There was instability. We haven't had these problems. Secondly, we've never had issues with the law. You know, the entire cabinet of the last government was taken to task by the High Court for wrongful acts. The entire cabinet. That was appealed to the Freeman Court of Appeal, and the Freeman Court of Appeal agreed that they were wrongful acts. That's bad for a country. I mean, it's very bad when the entire cabinet has been accused of wrongful doing. Certainly, there was, you know, about Osbert Dovey having to leave the government and Rufus Buse coming back. There was always a feeling of, listen, something is going to happen. And to his credit, the government stayed for the last 4.5 years. Many people thought it would not have stayed. But fact is, right now, there is not that feeling of instability. Not when you get up in the morning, you know, say what will happen, which government minister is going to do what and say what. I don't think that's the situation now. But fact is the government, there is a plan. But what is most disheartening is how people feel, how the opposition does not. It's a whole process of bending the truth, which is not good for our country. I'll give an example. I heard today that our government has increased expenditure on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs by $10 million. If you bear me, now I've always said that these facts are easy to come around. This government expenditure is no secret. There's a book called The Estimates of Expenditure, and it's there for everyone to see. So you don't hide government. You can't hide government expenditure. Let me tell you, if you bear me, Kendal, government expenditure on the foreign ministries, and I want to just and that comes from the Estimates of Expenditure, which is a book for everyone to see. I want to speak specifically about expenses on the foreign missions, which is the embassies abroad, because you've heard a lot about expenses. 2005 to 2006, and that excerpt is from the Estimates of Expenditure. Expenditure on foreign missions was $1.7 million. 2006 to 2007, expenditure on foreign missions was $5 million. Now, here enters the government change to 2007. 2007 to 2008, expenditure on foreign missions was $4.8 million. 2009 to 2010, expenditure on foreign missions was $11.5 million, an increase of $7 million under the United Workers' Party. $7 million. 2010 to 2011, $10 million. 2011 to 2012, $10 million. 2012 to 2013, $10 million. 2014 to 2014, $11 million. 10, 7 to 2, and 11,896. Your maths will tell you, simple maths will tell you, there is an increase of about $300,000. That is the extent of expenditure on foreign missions. Now, you must have been deliberate in telling an untruth to make the point that the Labour Party increased expenditure on foreign missions by $10 million. The fact do not say for itself. In terms of expenditure on foreign missions, generally, total recurrent expenditure on the Ministry of External Affairs in total, 2004, 16 million. That includes the foreign missions. I spoke about the foreign missions separately, so the facts, you can hear the facts about expenditure on foreign missions. $16 million total expenditure in 2005. 2006, 12 million. 2007, $15 million. 2008, United Workers' Party, $14 million. 2010, United Workers' Party, $21 million. 2011, $20 million. 2012, the Labour Party, $20 million. 2013, $21 million. Projected 2014, $22 million. So and these are the things that you hear all the time that infuriate people. Look, listen to me. You spend all the money, and the facts do not bear testimony to that. So I would like the debates, we raise the level of debate. We have one country, there must be opposition. Everybody can't agree with what you're doing. But let us be honest in our debate. When we call figures, let us call our source. Where are the figures coming from? Just throwing figures around the place doesn't make any sense. And these figures are verifiable. And I challenge anyone, it's a public challenge to say these things are not true, because they are in the estimate of expenditure which is passed by the House of Parliament. So this is why I don't understand how the debate, we must raise the level. We need a new paradigm. We need a new shift in the politics. I don't think
anybody will disagree with you there, but let's talk about the debates a little later on.
Yes.
You didn't answer the question, but let me rephrase it. Do you think St. Lucia is better off now than it was perhaps 5 years ago?
St. Lucia is better off now than it was 5 years ago in many respects. Okay. Respect number one, and I want to be clear on that. Respect number one is St. Lucia is more stable. St. Lucia is a more stable country in terms of governance. We at a level of governance where people understand. I want to come back to the Taiwanese funds, if you want to go there. The Taiwanese funds, there is no scandal among Taiwanese funds again. Everyone knows, and people try to downplay the Taiwanese funds with all kinds of semantics, all kinds of that didn't happen. Fact is, the Taiwanese funds were misused. That is a fact, indisputable fact. The process as to how you prove or how you bring those who misuse the funds to justice is a work in progress. But fact is, the Taiwanese funds were misused. It's clear testimony. If you look at the report on the city councils, you will see clearly, you will see bills, you will see vouchers, you will see statements where the Taiwanese funds were used for things that were not of a national nature. This is a fact. So that's one respect. In the second respect, I think that St. Lucia now is more purposeful in that you see, you think, despite the global situation, I think people are beginning to feel that here's a government that has taken some tough decisions. A government has been honest with people. Now I want to come quickly back to better days. That is thrown around the place as if we didn't. Of course, we promised better days, and we still promise better days. But fact is, and now I've heard a new thing saying people don't read manifestos. Fact is, if you read the manifesto of our party did say that times are tough. We said we are inheriting a situation of global economic problems plus local challenges. And we did say that. And it's in our manifesto, very boring to see. So we didn't just go ahead and say when the Labour Party comes into power, there'll be gold and honey flowing in the streets. We never said so. We said we're going to give you better governance. We said you have to take some hard decisions we've taken. We said clearly that we would implement the value-added tax. It wasn't done like a thief in the night. We said clearly, and it is clear, and if you bear with me, I can read the exits for you in our blueprint for growth. We said on page 13, and now the excuse is nobody reads manifestos. That's the excuse that people, the convenient excuse. We said the value-added tax, and we said why. On page 13, we said our tax base is too small to allow government to provide the services that are demanded. On top of that, the new regional trade agreements will cause us to lose significant import tariff revenues that are currently paying for many of these services. The other countries in the OECS and CARICOM have already faced that reality. St. Lucia cannot continue to hide. Where VAT is concerned, we do not have a choice. We must introduce it. That was clear. And here's what we said about VAT. We agreed there would be discomfort. We said it. We said, in order to lessen the discomfort that VAT will bring to citizens, we will maintain a basket of goods that will be zero rated, meaning that these goods will not attract VAT. St. Lucia has the highest amount of goods. Right. We will delay the introduction of VAT on the payment of bills, electricity and water until we are satisfied that the public is reasonably protected from arbitrary increases by companies that provide these services. Done. Reasonably, once VAT is introduced, our estimate government will reduce taxation of working people by raising the threshold over the next 5 years. We've done it already to $18,000 now. So we said so. And let me hasten to talk about VAT on medication, because that is a very emotive topic.
But before you do that, are you satisfied? First of all, St. Lucia was one of the last countries in the OECS to implement VAT.
Yes.
Are you satisfied that there was enough engagement of the private sector as there needed to be, or that all the lessons were learned that St. Lucia should have learned? Because even after the implementation, there were issues with the Manufacturers Association, the St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association, who all felt that they weren't consulted enough or that their contributions weren't taken on board seriously enough. And
I agree. Yeah? I'll tell you. Let me tell you why. VAT is a dynamic tax. When VAT is introduced, there are always changes. When VAT was introduced in European countries, I want to quote my source. I don't want to say things out of the blue, right? There were multiple changes in the VAT Act. I think in England, multiple changes. VAT is a dynamic tax because VAT is a tax on transactions. When you are implementing VAT, you can never cover all your bases. You can never. Because you see, it's not a matter where you say, listen, I'm going to have income, expenses, minus 10% or 40%. No. VAT is on transactions. There are different processes in the value added when you're talking about VAT. So in terms of VAT, there are always going to be changes. The VAT is always a work in progress. Countries change their VAT, tingling with the VAT for the time. So I agree with you. There maybe have been need for more consultation, but the fact is we are constantly in consultation with the business sector, and you can never have a perfect VAT, never, because VAT is a dynamic tax. VAT is a tax on value added.
But are you satisfied now that there's some degree of
I think so. Yes, I think so. And I want to congratulate and thank the business sector and the public of St. Lucia. I think we'll settle down to VAT very nicely. You know about the disruptions of VAT in Grenada? Grenada had to move away from VAT when VAT was implemented, because we took our time and learned. And the business sector in the main has been very cooperative. Our compliance rates have been high, but as I said, it's a work in progress. But VAT was inevitable.
So let's hold in on the VAT on medicines.
Yes.
You did suggest or recommend the establishment of a committee to address that specific issue. How is that going?
We've not got any response from the opposition. Absolutely no response. And that's what I'm talking about, responsible opposition. But let me tell you something about VAT on medicine. You would want to believe that medicine never had any taxes.
Right.
Medication, there were taxes on medication. There were consumption taxes on medication. The government had to seek a derogation from CARICOM when we wouldn't VAT on medication. So there was tax on medication all the time. We said that in the beginning, there's got to be some issues with VAT on medication. For the simple reason, you're going to have taxes on top of taxes, double taxation. Good. The government says, let's look at it. Whilst we're implementing it, we said, listen to me, the medication you can get at health centers, what you can get, I don't want to say you can get everything, what you can get, there'll be no VAT. Good. Secondly, we said, let's give it a time and let's have a study on what the implications of VAT on medication, so we can plot the way forward. That study is nearly complete, and the public is going to know very shortly. You understand?
Time frame for the completion?
Well, you know, these things, we don't like to give exact time frames, because people hold you to it. You understand? And I don't want to be held to something and I can't account for it.
Okay.
They said that, and so that's happening now. Now, you'll find that there's been some adjustments in VAT on medicine. Some medications have gone down. Some have increased. Some have gone down. But the general picture, the public will have a general scientific idea, not an emotive idea. We understand it's emotive. Medication is emotive. But let's wait for the results and see what happens there.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that when we come back. We're due for a break. We'll take that break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the Acting Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. You're watching Newsmaker Live on DBS. We'll be right back.